Broncos country, this is KevDan here. Halftime is almost over. I'm going to go see what's going on, and we'll be right back. Hang with us. Hang with us. Okay there, Broncos country. It's almost halftime. This is KevDan. Welcome to Orange Weekly. Hit that share button. Hit that like button. Glad you're here. We have a lot to talk about in the 15-minute halftime, so stick with us. Don't go anywhere, except for maybe grabbing another beer or something, but take your phone with you. Looks like the Broncos are about to give up another field goal with 30-ish seconds left, so I need to go see what happens, but like I said, hit that share button, tell your friends about us, and we'll be right back for the halftime hash. Okay, Broncos country, it's almost halftime. The Chargers just got the ball at the 2-yard line. I will be joined here by Jared in just a few seconds. It looks like the Chargers are going to get another touchdown. And of course, I'm seeing a ton of comments already, guys. Welcome to the halftime hash. We are here to talk with you, not at you. We're not going to be boring like those halftime announcer, commentators, halftime report bullcrap. So we are here. Hit that share button for us. I'm going to go ahead and start going through some comments right now while we wait for Jared. I'm sure there are not a lot of them. Joey, how you doing? Zach, you're – yep, we're going to talk about that in just a second. Fidel, how you doing? So we'll talk about some play calling there. I'm not sure if it's so much play calling as it is some other stuff, and it looks like Jared is just about here. But it's execution once again. Neil, how you doing? Neil did vote for me in the election, which is kind of crazy. Not saying you all should do that, but go vote. And there's my pitch for that. But glad you're here, Neil. Red Cloud, yeah, I'll get to your comments. I'm sure you're just dying to hear what we have to say. Tom, how you doing? Zach, ripping time. Oof, this is going to be a tough one, isn't it? Austin, yeah, offensively, this is hurting for sure. Cindy, how you doing? I'm glad you're here. Cindy, Red Cloud, Neil, we got some Orange Weekly OGs up in here. Glad you're all here, though. Keep posting your comments. Keep posting your questions, guys. Get ready for halftime. We're going to talk about all of this stuff and more. So we are here to interact with you and glad you're all here. We're not officially starting yet until the half starts. Jared will be here in just a minute. Fidel, yep, talking about the good defense, but that's about it. Well, I don't know what nonsense you're talking about because the only nonsense I'm seeing out there, Zach, is the Broncos offense. So we'll see. We'll see here in a second. Let's do. What the score looks like, it's going to be 14-3. I'm going to have Jared confirm that. The Chargers did get the ball at the 2-yard line, but I wanted to see how the rest of this is going to turn out before we actually start talking about it. More penalties. We're hearing Garrett Bowles' name quite a few times today, and that's not a good thing. Let's see. Looking here to share this video. If you guys could help me out, share that video as well. Be glad to talk with more of all of you. Isaac, throwing some shade to Fangio, even though we're solid defense is the reason why. But we got Jared.
Hey, look at that.
Welcome to the halftime hash. Jared is we're going to start this off. I've gone through some comments already, but you know what?
I heard.
I'm going to let you start this one, good sir. I'm
just
be a minute.
I just saw the touchdown. Apparently there was some defensive stuff. I heard a couple questions that I want to bring up. One of them was the Garrett Bowles issue. Obviously he's got 2 penalties against him. One of them was just a shitty call. Let's be honest about it. They showed the replay. There was no holding there. Anytime you have Pro Bowl guys out there, they're always watching that, so we'll go with that. Our run game's not there, and I think a lot of it has to do with kind of like A, not practicing as much this week, and B, one of our starting offensive line, Graham Glasgow, has sat out this game and probably will be out this game and possibly next, depending on how his protocols go for COVID. That's for me, that's the biggest part about this offensive line, how this run game is going.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. I mean, we're not even trying, it looks like. I mean, except for 2nd and 10s, then we're trying to run the ball over and over again. What I'm, especially early on in the game and even through now, if it's 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12, whatever the case is, we go for like a 3 or 4 yard pass.
So hold on, and I know because you're getting mad in the text messages, and I want to talk about it. That's why I want to jump on halftime hash with you.
Okay. I thought it's because you wanted to help me out.
Who's? Yeah, no. It's you're on Team Puffball, so this is happening. No, so the biggest part about those 3rd down passes that are really short is he's going through his reads, right? Everybody in the offseason, he's reading. All of us, including everybody in the media, is talking about, man, he's taking these crazy shots when he doesn't need to. Go through your reads. He's going through his reads and he's dumping off to his outlet. I'm not against dumping off to your outlet on a 3rd and medium because then you give that chance. Put the ball in the athlete's hands to get to 1st down if you can.
Sure.
I appreciate that sometimes, but 3 times in a row, that's him going through his reads. That's him dumping off. He's not taking the risks that I think he needs to be taking because the plays are there. The routes are there are a couple routes going over the top to the 1st down, but yeah.
No, and that's the thing. It's over and over again. And Fidel, yeah, you're right. We are trying to be realistic here. Look, the defense is doing as good as they can. You know, they're doing their job more or less. The Chargers offense is kind of starting to get on a roll now. We saw a couple of big throws, especially right there at the end. They're moving the ball pretty effectively. But I don't know, Jared, like what else could the defense do to – I mean, we even had that pick by Justin Simmons early on in the game. Got it down to, the 15-yard line? So, look, I'm not trying to be an optimist. You know, there's not much to be optimistic about on the offensive side of the ball.
Look, and we went into this game ranked 31st in offense and 3rd in defense, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening this week again. We have a very strong defense and not a very hot offense, and this is the big thing. And I think somebody said it on Twitter, and I forget who it was. I think it was Tori. I don't know her Twitter handle. Sorry, said something along the lines of like at the beginning of the season, everyone was like, "Hey, give our offense, the youngest offense in the league." And brand new coordinator, brand new quarterback coming in with his group. Give him time, give him some chances, and a lot of people don't want to. We know we're not good, and again that goes back to the whole concept of being realists. We know we're not good on offense. We need our defense to set us up, and they have been. And unfortunately, we are also on the field too much. The defense has been on the field for the last half of this, like basically the entire second half or second quarter.
Yeah, and this is Jose and Fidel kind of making some points here. Lindsay agrees. Steve. So here's the thing when it comes to the offense, though, guys. I'm not expecting us to be amazing. I don't expect us to be a top 10 offense. But with a defense like this, all we have to do is average.
More than 2 first downs.
Right. But it's not asking for much, right? Am I asking for too much here, Jared?
No, of course not, man. Look, and we're all frustrated. This is how it works. We're all frustrated. We're all big Bronco fans. We're all here to support our Broncos. We hope that we can support them through a win or through something better than what we're looking at. And obviously, hopefully, we go in there and make some halftime adjustments, come out in the second half to be able to smack the Chargers in the face. But honestly, we have to be realistic and hope for the best. I think I mentioned something like, look, I expect that we're going to be really bad, but I hope that we get better. And up until this point, I think our offense has been looking better and better every week until about this game where we just cannot get anything done.
So if you're in that locker room and you're talking to Drew Lock before going out and maybe the offense in general, what are you telling those guys?
So you got to get them into the mindset, right? You have to tell them, hey, look, these guys are beating us right now and we need to come out and make some plays. So you have to tell these guys you need to go make the plays that you're expected to. Yeah, absolutely. 6'2" total yards on offense is not acceptable. You need to finish the plays. So that's another thing I've noticed. Finish your plays, go to the whistle, and make your card cuts. Go to what you need to do. Also, I think they've been doing a pretty good job, and I think that's part of the reason that Drew Lock has been struggling so much is they've been trying to get the ball into the hands of Noah Fant and Jerry Jeudy. Those are probably two of the most targeted people. I think there was one to Deshaun Hamilton that ended up getting called back. That was a decent catch, but yeah, so that's another thing too. Is, and I know we haven't talked about it, but the penalties have been killing our offensive momentum, and that's honestly for the past 5 years. Yeah. The Denver Broncos, I think that's kind of like a reoccurring theme here, is that penalties just kill offensive momentum.
Yep, and it's not a ton of them, but it's just enough. And you're talking about going from 1st and 10 to 1st and 20, or that extra 10 yards is huge. Right. For me, I'm looking for them. Look, I don't care if the score is 14-3. Go out and move the ball on the ground. Get that run game established. Obviously, go for some passes to open up that run game. Do something, maybe take a shot down the field. But you got to get that ground game going, because if you just keep throwing the ball like we are, I mean, this offense is going to be off the field 90% of the second half.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's been a couple mentions here about the offensive line, and yeah, the offensive line is looking rough. They obviously haven't played together for very long. Schlottman's starting at the right guard position, and that's tough, right? Or right tackle. Sorry, that's a tough position. 1 step forward, 10 steps back. Yeah, every time, man. Like, look, we can stay here. Look, first of all, I want to, before we've been talking a lot of negative stuff, but look, yeah. Denver Broncos through and through, right? Denver Broncos for life. So thank you guys all for joining us. This is what we're here for. We're going to support them no matter what their decisions are and how we go forward. But I think that we can come back. We're not down by a lot. Obviously, 14 points in the last, 5 minutes of the game? That's tough. Or 5 minutes of the half? That's tough. We were up 3-0 for basically the entire first half until the end of that. And that's give credit to our defense where it's due. And it should be 14-7 because we had the ball on like the 10-yard line after that the pick from Justin Simmons. So, yeah, but Denver Broncos through and through. Obviously, I hope that we come back in the second half, make some halftime adjustments, and come back and do what we need to do.
Look, this isn't like, we're ready to sell the farm in terms of this game and give up. There's 30 more minutes left to play. The Chargers will get the ball to start the second half there, but it's I think if we just play smart, and I get that Drew Lock is going through his reads, I do get it, but at some point, you have to do something other than just continuously dump it off, on those third downs. What it seems like to me is he's going the complete opposite direction of how he was last week, and he needs to find some sort of middle ground. Trust the receivers. Obviously, if there's absolutely nothing there, okay, do what you got to do. But it almost seems like he's not even willing to take that chance. And obviously, I'm watching it real time. I'm not looking to see if there's anyone actually open. But I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of comments about there's a lot of hate on Drew Lock right now. So.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of frustration with Drew Lock. I don't think it's a hate. Obviously, yeah. Again, we're fans. A lot of frustration with the way Drew Lock's playing this game. We've seen a lot of great flashes from him. We've also seen a lot of terrible flashes from him. And this is kind of like that opposite, right? I think that he's a young quarterback in this league. I think he has less than 8 starts, maybe 9 starts in this league with the injury this year and him only coming into the end of last. And ultimately, I think what we're looking at here is we're getting frustrated with Lock. And I think last week he took too many shots. Ended up throwing a couple big interceptions when we didn't need to. The pick 6 was big. The week before that, took a big long shot. Almost lost us the game against New England. Obviously, our defense stepped up and fixed that. But all he's been getting is this criticism about like, man, go through your reads, find the open guy. But it also means find the open guy where you need to find the open guy. And obviously, we can sit back here and talk all we want. He's just going back and forth. And eventually, as a young quarterback, you find that good middle ground. Yeah. And the other thing I think was really funny, you know what, this is a good point here too. Without Tim Patrick, we're struggling. Tyler, you're right. Imagine a full offense. We have Sutton, Tim Patrick, and Tim Patrick. Remember, Tim Patrick was the backup to Sutton, and he was playing lights out. Without the offensive firepower that we're used to, we are struggling. Obviously, going forward, we're going to see that going forward. But so here's the other thing too that I've noticed, and we could talk about this more on the after show. This is the halftime hash, but the biggest one is everybody's talking about how Herbert's the best, Herbert's great. Why didn't we get Herbert? Herbert's not doing too hot either. No. There's been a couple good throws that he's made, but really his receivers have been bailing him out. So, but again, our defense is really stepping up. They're playing like a number 3 defense, and we're playing like a number 31 offense.
Yeah. And I think that's just what's so frustrating about all of it. You look at teams that have terrible offenses and they have terrible defenses too, and everyone's just like, yeah, well, it is what it is. We're just gonna suffer, the 0-8 like the Jets are, But when we see that potential, and this is where I get frustrated when somebody says, this is Fangio's fault. And look, you can disagree with me. That's fine. That's what we're here for. We're just fans, and that's right. That's what we're gonna do. That's why we're talking with you guys. But for me, Fangio can only do so much. Shermer can only do so much. You got to go out there and execute. And I think that's where the problem is on the execution side of the ball. I'm not sure how much of it is play calling, but what do you think?
No, I agree. I don't think the play calling is the biggest issue here. I think execution is. That's something we saw last week, and that's something that we're seeing again this week. There's options there. The play calls there. Also, remember, we got Fangio in the first place as a defensive mastermind, and he's been doing a very good job. I mean, he's been calling the defensive plays this entire season, and we have a number 3 defense. And obviously, as a head coach, he's made a couple interesting decisions towards the beginning, but I haven't seen him make any questionable decisions in the past 5 games. So honestly, for me, I think it's just the execution piece. Obviously, the mentality, and I think the big part is the guys on the field, and they're getting demoralized between the injuries and the bad press and the media. They're getting a little bit demoralized, but they need to be able to rise up and bring that fire. And honestly, I think at halftime in this game specifically that's when they need to do it. If we come out and we start firing on all cylinders and we make a couple big plays to get back into this game, I'm going to have so much more faith in our players as leaders going in there. But if we come out in this second half and we're just flat on our feet like we were in the first half, it's going to be a very, very difficult season for us because of the leadership. I feel like on the field leadership really needs to step up in this moment. Yeah.
And dude, we've been missing that leadership for a couple years now, especially with Vaughn out. I mean, you can tell just the gaping hole we have in terms of the lack of leadership. And it's not so much lack of leadership, but when you have a team this young, it's like, who can step up? Bradley Chubb, right. Justin Simmons, who right. on the offense. there's no one with enough experience to be that leader. It was Sutton. It was
before
Vaughn.
We got rid of Sanders last year. The year before that, it was Sanders. You know, the guys on the offense, we got to find the leader. And Drew Lock has been going through his struggles, and it's hard to be a leader when you're struggling, trying to focus on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Fidel dislikes Sims as an analyst, so halftime we do this. Also, next week we're going to be at Colorado Cork and Keg calling the game live. We can't show the game, but we'll be commentating throughout the game. So join us next week for that, so you don't have to listen to those guys. Okay, Jared, halftime is about over. So I guess once again, one, have you written your letter to Santa this year asking for a better team, another quarterback like Neil is doing? But yeah, what else are your closing thoughts? And I guess just what are you expecting to see? Yeah, no, I'm expecting to see us come back a lot more fired up from the halftime. Again, scoring 14 points in the last 3 minutes of the game is not something you want to see again. For the entire first half, we had the game under control. We had control of the game, and it got away from us at the end of the second half. I expect us to come out firing a little bit more. I think they're going to tell Drew Lock, you know what? Screw everything we told you about going through your reads. I think someone mentioned there is that he needs to go back to gunslinging, and I think that's what they're going to do. Like, you know what? Screw going through your reads. Let's turn around, throw the ball, trust your receivers. Let's get going. And we got this game in the second half. I still think it's only a 14-3 game. We could still do this. That's the optimism in me, right? The realist is a little skeptical, but I think the optimism in me is we could still get this game and not lose all of our AFC West games. Yep. Well, I'm going to keep drinking, but exactly right. Let's just go out there and play ball. Forget overthinking it. Just go out there, relax, do your thing. And that involves getting the run game going as well. So, Jared, I appreciate it. Looks like the second half is about to start. Everyone who's watching, thanks a lot. We'll be back tomorrow night for Bourbon Broncos and OBS, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And don't forget about our post-game podcast, pre-game podcast. And thanks to Centennial State Insurance Agency for sponsoring us. With that being said, Jared, I don't think there's anything else to say, but go Broncos. We're not mathematically eliminated. Oh, that one. I keep screwing it up. No, you got it. No, that's my line. It's the ending line is go. You know what? We'll talk about it later. We'll work on it. Go Broncos. Go Broncos.